And live from the Scheinfeld Center Innovator Studio at Santa Barbara City College, it's the Enlightened Entrepreneur Podcast, where we inform and inspire Gen Z to become even more entrepreneurial and innovative in our global economy. I'm your host, Julie Sampson, Director of the Scheinfeld Center. Hey, welcome everybody. I'm so happy to have you here and so excited for this second podcast in a series of 7 that's all about helping you avoid some of the areas that aspiring entrepreneurs get stuck when they're bringing a product or service to market. And so we meet here every Friday. So if you are into being your own boss, creating a livelihood that matters, making the world a better place, that's what we are about. And I encourage you to be a regular. Invite others to come and share in this opportunity. And, together we are stronger and better as entrepreneurs. So let's make that happen. If you like what we're doing, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and dive into our content today. In our first episode of this series, we talked about how to come up with a business idea. And if you're having any trouble identifying a business idea that you can really get behind, I encourage you to look at that video, and I'll link it here or in the description so you can go back and watch it. We give you a really simple framework in order to do just that. And then once you have a business idea, though, the question is, how do you know whether it holds promise or not? That's a relevant question because it's estimated that 80 to 90% of startups fail. And the major reason that they fail is that there's no market need for their product or service. And the good thing is that you can stack the deck in your favor because there is something called market validation that will help you ensure that your customers want your product or service and that you're going to get a lot of sales. Essentially, what market validation is targeting. It's a series of tests that you do with your customers before you even bring your product or service to market. And we'll share with you 3 tests that you can apply with your concepts today to make sure that you stay on track. And to help us do that, we are very fortunate to have with us today a millennial entrepreneur, John Harmon, who is founder and CEO of Oil Slick Beach Tar Remover, a freelance web developer and marketing manager for EDEC, which offers military strength signal blocking for everyday devices. John is an SBCC alumnus who studied marketing and computer science and was the first place winner of the 2015 Scheinfeld New Venture Challenge. And he's coming us to us today from Santa Barbara. So John, welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you, Julie.
Yeah. So I first met you, I think it was in 2015 when you went through enterprise launch and then you went on to win the New Venture Challenge. Is that right?
Yeah, that was about 5 years ago. That was
it's hard to believe, right? So what I know, you've been so generous with your time coming back to mentor students, and you've served as a judge in our high school tier of the Scheinfeld New Venture Challenge. And through that, I've been able to get glimpses of everything that you've been doing. You know, you got your bachelor's degree. You have not only the business that you launched out of enterprise launch, but you have other businesses as well. So let's just kind of set some context and kind of get an idea for our audience of who you are and what you're doing. So starting with Oil Slick, how do you describe Oil Slick?
I created this product in response to kind of a local problem that takes place here in Santa Barbara. If you are a frequent beach goer or enjoy the Santa Barbara beaches, it's really common to get tar on your feet. And before I created oil slick. Most common remedies to get the tar off your feet were like gasoline, WD-40, just really kind of random household generic products. And if you were like a tourist that was visiting Santa Barbara, you didn't know to use these products. And also at the same time, it was kind of weird because kind of how I got the idea for oil slick was I saw a mom pour gasoline on her 8-year-old's foot to get the tar off because she didn't want her 8-year-old tracking tar into her brand new like RV. So when I saw this, I wanted to create something that like a tar remover that was designed for the beach, that was healthy for the skin. It was eco-friendly, really kind of a Santa Barbara uh, product that the local community can use and trust. And 5 years later, we're still in business, and I'm very fortunate to keep doing it. And yeah, today I mostly sell to like a lot of the hotels because when tourists come to Santa Barbara, the hotels can provide them, a quick and easy solution. So they're not tracking tar back into the hotels, so it saves them money. And we also sell like a spray bottle for, if you want to have it in your home or keep it in your car. So yeah, that's kind of what Oil Slick Beach Tar Remover is. And yeah, during the early phases, I kind of developed the idea while I was at Santa Barbara City College, and that's how we met Julie. Kind of received my funding by winning the New Venture Challenge in 2015, and that was the money I used to kind of bring Oil Slick to market. And yeah, what an adventure it's been, especially the past 5 years. It's been quite a journey.
We're going to take all of that and focus on oil slick for discussing these 3 tests for market validation that our audience can use to test out their own product or service with their target market being those customers that you anticipate will be buying your product or service. So the first of these tests is called problem and customer discovery. Okay, so it's the problem and customer discovery test. And the object of this test is to determine 3 things essentially. If your target market has the problem you think they do, if that problem is unmet or insufficiently met with the current alternatives on the market, and if there's a lot of people searching for a new alternative, right? So John, I know that you went through this process with Oil Slick. Once you had your idea, how did you determine whether people were really needing a better beach tar remover before you even developed the product?
The market validation for Oil Slick was actually really interesting because it kind of went all over the place. And I truly believed, oh, this is going to be a great product for surfers. And it is a great product for surfers, but it wasn't my key customer that I thought it was going to be. I was really, reaching out to a lot of different people trying to figure out, how can I best sell this? And what I thought was going to be surf shops, I learned later down the road, it was actually the hotels. They were going to be more of a customer to this idea than the surf shops. And that was something I learned, in the development stages of Oil Slick.
Yeah, excellent. So really the key to this particular step in market validation is you're trying to find out, does your target market really have the problem that you think they do, and is it unmet or insufficiently met? Because it can be that they have the problem that you think they do, but it can be that they're satisfied with their solution. Like, you talked about the mom and how kind of horrifying that was to see, but I mean, there's other alternatives that people use to take off beach tar, and so it can be sometimes, there's other solutions. Yes, it is a problem, but there's other solutions and they're fine with those solutions. But you found a need that was unmet partially by, through your inquiry by the hotels who were looking for a solution, as well as I think through your your customer discovery phase, you found that moms were actually a big, very interested in oil slick. Is that right? Am I remembering that right?
They were, absolutely, yeah, and you're absolutely correct. Because when I was doing, my market validation, I was trying to figure out what was my best like local key customer, and locally, moms, because a lot of moms, they need an activity to keep their kids entertained, and if you're in Santa Barbara, the beach is a great place, and so if you're a mom, you want to provide healthy products, for your children. And if you're at the beach, tar is such a common problem for everyone. And so, locally, Santa Barbara mom residents are a huge, huge customer of mine locally.
Yeah.
But on a bigger scale, it was really the tourists. And the reason why is because, if you're not from Santa Barbara, you're not going to understand that, we have really bad tar issues on the beach. So when you're coming to visit Santa Barbara, and you're coming for the beaches, you're not going to know that. And you're also not going to know that, some of the local remedies that the locals have discovered, you're not going to know what's going to work and what's not. So that's why oil slick is so popular with, the tourists and the hotels, because they can look at it and say, oh, this is branded for this problem. This is what I need to use. So, that took me a while to, learn that. But, that's part of starting a business. You're going to go through that journey of, okay, who am I really going to sell this to? Who's this, like who has this problem the most?
Who has the problem, right?
Yeah.
And what I really like about what you just said in the different ways that you went about seeing who had this problem, was it unmet, and were there enough people who were needing a new solution, that would support a business. You went and talked with people directly, so it was one-on-one conversations. You observed, you made observations of people on the beach, seeing how they were handling the problem. You said you did Google search, so looking at Google search trends, right, to see what people are searching for. Like, are they searching for beach tar remover, ecologically friendly, biodegradable beach tar remover, that kind of thing. And there's also forums online with, even going on to YouTube videos, reviews of different things. Those can be places where you can, listen to your target market and see if there's ample evidence that, yes, there is this problem that's unmet and people are searching for a new solution, and there seems to be enough of them that it could support a business. So, and you also put yourself in the shoes of your customer, because you're a surfer, so you're out there on the beach experiencing it yourself too. So all really great ways of coming around to, okay, do customers have the problem that I think that they do? Once you went through all of that and you've described the validation that you got, the next stage that you had to go into was developing a prototype, of oil slick. And so can you talk a bit about your development of the actual prototype and how you came around to, like, what your production method was originally and what your channels of distribution were?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, developing the product, well, to begin, I'm no chemist, so that was a kind of a big challenge. So, I mean, Google is such a great resource. It's you can really kind of go down the rabbit hole with whatever you want to look up and research. And I was really learning a lot about chemistry and what's really going to take the tar off. And so, I also was just buying samples of just, like different essential oils, different like skin safe oils, and really just kind of, yeah, I think I had like 50 samples at one point of just different ingredients and blending them together and just trying to I mean, I was pretty passionate to make it happen. So it was, I spent a lot of time on it. And yeah,
And you had to figure out the containers too, how it was going to be packaged and a label for it.
yeah, I learned, cost of goods sold. There's a cost to the bottle, there's a cost to the cap, there's a cost to the label, cost per ounce. How is it, when you do make your product, how do you case it out for wholesale? These were all lessons that I needed to learn. Even 5 years later, I'm still learning new things and new tricks and tips, and things are always changing.
Absolutely. Okay, so once you have your prototype, you kind of move into the second phase of testing, which is the problem solution fit test. And so the object of this test is with your prototype, which is a simple version of your product or service. You get it in front of customers to see whether they feel it solves their problem and meets their needs, and to get feedback about any changes. So once you had your prototype, how did you get it in front of people so that they could try it? And what was the outcome of that? Did you find that you needed to make changes, or was it good as is?
When I first launched, I mean, kind of how I really got it out there was I walked into all the surf shops and I just said, hey, I have this spray bottle. It's really good for moving tar. This is the brand. I would love to, I think this would be a great product for you to sell. And yeah, I spent the first year getting into all the surf shops and really having them kind of push and promote it. And they gave me some feedback. And I was fortunate enough that I didn't have to go through a lot of like, hey, you need to change this and change that. It was I did a really good job just getting it right the first time, which I think is very, very rare. And because in business development, I feel like there's always a lot of like, first iteration, go back and retweak first iteration. So
And
yeah.
I think that probably part of what went into that is the research that you did in the problem and customer discovery phase.
Yeah.
That gave you information. That's part of market validation, is that if you get that information, it can help you with making the whole development process more efficient.
Yeah, absolutely. And even when I did figure out the formula, and I started making it, I also just gave a lot of product out for free. Friends, family, other, surfing colleagues. I gave out a lot of samples and just said, hey, look, like I'll give this to you for free. In return, I would love to just, if I could just get a review, just let me know, how I did, what I should do to change. And yeah, I mean, everyone said great things. So I didn't really feel like a need to change a whole lot.
Yeah. So you kind of had two customers, and what you were describing there is that you actually validated and tweaked things towards what the surf shops needed and, according to your end user. And so that's all part of establishing that product, product solution fit.
Yes, absolutely. And what I sell to the surf shops is very different to what I sell to the hotels. The surf shops, they buy the spray bottle because a lot of the surfers, they want something in their car that they can always have when they drive to the beach. The hotels, they buy my product also comes in like a biodegradable wipe. So the the hotels buy the wipes and they put the wipes in all the rooms, and pretty much when they run out, they they just buy more. So it's like an unsaid subscription.
Yes, that's so great. So you actually have the hotels, the surf shops, the direct to consumer through your website. So you establish those channels. So once you have refined your label and your packaging and all of that, you moved into the third test that we're going to discuss, and that's the product market fit test. And essentially that's when you bring it to market, do people buy it, and do you experience increasing sales, and are they happy with it, right? So it's establishing that, yes, you're delivering on your promise, and that people are satisfied with the value that you're bringing to them. And I think you've talked, about how you kept in touch with your different customers, right? So I think that part is so important, right? Because if you're removed from direct connection to your customer, then you're missing that feedback that you really need to understand, whether customers are happy or not.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, why we go into business is providing value to the customer. So really their feedback should be driving how your product essentially is developed.
What happened in terms of your sales? Like, what was the progression where you reached the point where it's like, okay, I'm onto something here. Not only is this an idea that people need, a product that people need, but there's actually a business here.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, when I first launched, I thought it was the surf shops. But so what became kind of like, selling to the shops, on the side, the minute I had my first meeting with my first hotel, and I sat down with them and they were interested in buying wipes and putting them in all the rooms. And we were discussing, kind of the financial details of that. That's when I knew right there. I was like, I think this is going to be more of a business than I thought. And so I had to adapt and kind of cater to the hotels, and really kind of develop a different product form that works for them. And yeah, 5 years later, I'm in business with pretty much most of the hotels in Santa Barbara, which I'm very fortunate to be still in business with them.
How has COVID-19 affected your business?
Oh, COVID-19. Well, I will say springtime, and I can probably speak for most business owners. Springtime was a little scary because we simply didn't know what things were going to look like, and so I mostly relied on my kind of web development freelancing services at the time. I wasn't with EDEC at the time as well too,
Right.
and so I had that as a backup. I try not to put all my eggs in one basket, and I didn't know what, like, to pretty much answer that question. I didn't know what was going to happen to Oil Slick because a lot of the hotels were saying, hey, like, we're at a 20% occupancy rate and we're cutting costs, and tar on the beach is not the biggest priority, but we have your number and we'll call you when things change. But Santa Barbara, come mid to late summer, the hotels kind of increased, and I started doing business again with a lot of them. So and actually I at the end of this year, I sold out of wipes, so that's a good thing.
It's such a good thing. And you are demonstrating one of the benefits of having multiple streams of income was that you were able to lean on other sources during that time in order to navigate personally, and as your business kind of weathered through that time of uncertainty. We actually have another question from a member of the audience. Where were you selling more, to direct to consumers or surf shops or hotels?
Hotels is always my number one, and just recently, direct to consumer is right behind it. I actually did really well this year on Amazon. I've been on Amazon for a while with Oil Slick, but this year I really changed some things on Amazon. I've been learning a lot about Amazon PPC advertising. I've been really good at getting your listing optimized, and so I've really really encouraged to do the online marketplaces. I feel like you should always have your product on there.
Well, if you can believe it, time goes so quickly. It's actually, our time is done. Wow. But I'm sure that our customers would love to be in contact with you. So what's the best way for them to do that?
You can email me, or if you visit my website, my contact information is on there. And website or email works great. And I'm always looking forward to people reaching out. Anything I can do to help others, I'm there.
Excellent. Great. I can put those links down below. And so then for our audience, just to summarize, market validation, you are determining whether people want your product or service before you even build it to mitigate risk of you bringing something to market that your customers actually don't want, right? And so there's the 3 tests: problem customer discovery, problem solution fit, and problem market fit. And so we hope that those will help you in bringing your product or service to market. And be sure and join us next Friday when we're going to take the next step in this journey and take a look at prototyping. How do you develop a prototype of your product and service? We'll be exploring that. So again, if you'd like this video, please share it. Please follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we hope to see you next week. And in the meantime, have a great week and stay strong, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you, John. So appreciate you being with us.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.